you?
Who did that?
My
Are you
appendix.
touching me?
Hey, I have light.
Why do we have a power cut right now? I don't get it.
I think it's just a random power cut that just happened to occur at the same time as us filming an episode on energy.
I kind of like power cuts. I mean, this is quite nice. But how do we even get power here?
Water.
I know that we use water lots. So are we out of water? I don't know. I hope not.
And wind power.
I have heard of solar. I don't think we use that much though.
The real power is nuclear power. That's the power from that.
Don't even get me started on nuclear power. That's the most disgusting form of power that ever has been invented.
It's
the
always
most
nuclear.
hor-
It's so
It
clean,
creates
green.
so much disgusting
But I don't know
waste.
how we
It
generate
creates
power here.
Such toxic waste. The nuclear power, what are you going to do? You're going to lock it up in a box and send it into
I
outer
don't
space or
understand
bury it
how
under the ground?
power
That's gonna
works.
come back
Let's
and
get
bite
out
you
of
in
here,
the
Chelsea.
arse one
I'm
day,
sick of
I
hearing
promise.
about this.
It's so disgusting. I can't believe so many countries in the world do it.
Aha! The beginning of an answer to my question.
Yep, a power source.
Wow. It's so large.
Yeah. I just want to know how it works.
Okay then. I just think it might be the wind, but let's go find out.
So Liz, can you tell me how this wonderful piece of machinery actually works?
Well, all it really does is capture the moving air and turn that moving air into electricity just by spinning the turbine inside, and it just generates electricity. It's very simple.
Very simple. So Liz's basic guide to electricity goes like this,
A source turns a turbine,
which moves conducting wires past a magnet,
which causes electrons in the wire to move.
and that's an electric current. But what exactly are electrons?
They're small electric charges.
Ah.
So how much of New Zealand's energy is produced by wind power?
At the moment, it's only a little bit. It's only about 1 to 2%, but we're really lucky in New Zealand. About 60% of our electricity already comes from hydro, which is another renewable resource. Gas is probably the next biggest source. That's a fossil fuel, and that makes up about 22%.
You might want to add on another 0.5% for Chelsea's generous contribution to natural gases.
Thanks, Polder. Very professional.
After that comes coal at about 8%, and then we have geothermal, another renewable energy resource, at about 5%. So we're really lucky that we've got this really good base of renewable energy in New Zealand.
Liz, you said hydropower was one of our main sources of electricity, but how does it work?
That generates by storing water at a certain height, usually in a dam, and then as that water is released, just the energy of it falling downwards spins a turbine and generates electricity.
Geothermal power, how does that work?
Well, that takes energy that's stored in the earth as heat, and we have lots of places in New Zealand where that bubbles to the surface, so Rotorua, Taupo. And that uses the flowing heat and steam to run a turbine to generate electricity.
So basically you always have to turn a turbine to get electricity.
That's the main way. The solar photovoltaic panel would be the other way that it's done.
She's talking about solar panels which convert energy to electricity, but without a turbine.
And they use good old sunshine as the energy source.
So we're pretty well off in New Zealand having all these great natural resources around us.
I mean, you just have to look around where we're standing at the moment. The sun's shining, that we can use the heat from the sun for solar water heating. We've got the wind turbine to capture our wind resource. And behind us you can see the Cook Strait there, and using the ocean to generate electricity is something that's just emerging at the moment. You can make electricity from wave power or from the currents that flow around New Zealand. And even just on the hill behind us here, there's the Wellington landfill, and at that landfill they capture the gas from the rubbish rotting down and use that gas for heating or electricity generation.
So the rubbish turns into energy. Cool.
You've got to cycle faster than that if you want the bulb to go.
All this work just to light a 100-watt bulb. Now I know why people use hydroelectricity.
Yeah, but hydro's really bad for the environment. This way you're not hurting anyone.
But I'm hurting my body. How much power am I making?
I'd say about 300 watts.
Right, so how much would I need to run a TV?
I don't know, probably more than that though. Go faster.
So what form of energy is the cleanest and most sustainable?
Probably in general wind power would be the most sustainable. In New Zealand we're really blessed. We've got a great wind resource. We lie in the roaring 40s where the winds just zoom around the earth.
But aren't people quite resistant to wind power because of the noise and how it affects the landscape?
As far as noise goes, there are actually standards in New Zealand that limit the amount of noise to around 40 decibels at the boundary of the nearest property, and that's about the noise that a fridge would make. If there are problems in the future with wind farms or people change their mind about them, you can quite simply remove them and the landscape remains unchanged.
How many houses does the Te Apiti wind farm power?
The Te Apiti wind farm has about between 50 and 60 turbines and can produce up to 90 megawatts of electricity. That's enough to power 45,000 homes.
Oh, wow.
That's quite a lot.
That's good. I like it now.
Yeah.
So now we know where the energy comes from. How does it get to our place? We're off to Transpower to find out.
This is really cool.
So is that over there where you can talk to Hamilton?
Yes, that's the other virtual centre in Hamilton, and that's the live video link that allows the two teams to talk to each other. This is the Wellington end of the virtual control centre, and we have one of the operator desks here with all the various displays that allow them to operate the power system. We have the live video link to the control centre in Hamilton. And we have two operators working up there today as well. So between the four, they're controlling the whole power system, literally from Kaitaia to the Bluff.
Wow, so the whole country is on the same power grid, North and South Island.
So why do you have two control stations?
Both are fully capable at any point in time of running the power system independently. Basically, it's fundamental security. One control room could be damaged by natural events, or it could be broken into by a hacker or...
Hackers breaking in and playing around with the system.
A break-in like that is one of our great fears, and we have very sophisticated computer systems that are spread across the country. We spend a lot of time and money ensuring that it's as robust as we can.
So the national grid is the system that collects all the power from all the different sources and makes it all the same standard.
And voltage. And this control centre manages all the different sources.
So if it's really windy at the wind farm, they switch us to using less energy from hydro and more from wind.
And vice versa if there's no wind.
And it all comes through the grid and back out to us.
To turn our lights on and keep our ice cream cold.
Faster, Barnaby.
I'm trying.
No, faster. You gotta go twice as fast to get the TV to work.
That's impossible. I'm going as fast as I can.
Just give it up then. That device is too inefficient. It's a dumb bike anyway. Luckily, we have hydropower.
Why do we bring power from the South Island to the North Island or vice versa?
When Benmore Power Station was being built, there weren't enough users in the South Island, so it was decided to connect the South Island to the North Island.
In the country's dams and generating stations, Benmore's the greatest. From the North Island, converted freighters contend with the vagaries of Cook Strait to lay their multi-million-pound cargo. It's a long job waiting for suitable weather.
So the cable was groundbreaking when it was first laid. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
The technology that was put in then is actually still running. The old mercury arc valves, we were the first in the world to put them in, and it looks like we'll be last in the world to remove them from service. So Cook Strait cable link is very special to New Zealand.
What's your viewpoint on wind power?
The real trick in New Zealand is actually getting it into the power system and joining it to the grid without actually causing major fluctuations as the wind gusts. We're doing a lot of research at the moment of how we balance particularly hydro and wind so that at any point in time that the power doesn't fluctuate up and down.
Kieran, what are the pros and cons of nuclear power?
My view is that in the foreseeable future, nuclear in New Zealand will not be an option. The main reason is economic. Nuclear power stations are huge, and so we're talking probably a station 1.5 times our current largest station of Huntly, and the New Zealand power system just can't handle it. They're just too large. There's a whole lot of environmental and safety issues aside, which basically we don't have to deal with because technically it's very, very difficult at the present time.
Looks like we're gonna stick with the power sources we know.
And love.
Ah, sweet wind.
What did you guys learn while you're away?
Many a thing.
Well, the main thing that I learned was that to get electricity you need to turn a turbine, which I didn't know, and I think most people do know it, but I didn't know. And the homes in New Zealand are mainly powered by hydro and
Gas.
we went to the control centre where they balanced that out, which was really, really cool.
And we found out about wave power.
What's wave power?
Well, it's a way of generating electricity using the currents and the waves.
But one really pivotal thing I found out today was the secret to turning back on our power.
Ah!
There you go.
You sneaky beggar.
Oh yeah.